Okay, welcome to Hockey Talks. I'm Carl. It's Dave. Tonight we're going to be talking about the Zach Hyman 50 goal mark that he made and the comments by Andrew Berkshire. But before we get to that, Dave, we are going to dive into the WHL playoffs. And right now, as it stands, the top team in the league would be the Saskatoon Blades, and they are at tonight against the PA Raiders at home. So that being said, what do you make of the playoffs coming, and who do you see, or where do you see maybe Saskatoon getting to within these?
Well, obviously they have a history with the PA Raiders, right?
Yeah,
And in the playoffs, if it's anything like the NHL, which WHL is kind of, I guess, younger kids and all that, so they're a little more bouncy on the boards. But I don't know. Against PA, obviously the Blades should win. I think they were the top this season. And I mean, one thing that stuck out about them was that they actually were one of the lower teams for penalties. So if that shows anything, goes into playoffs at least, they'll be better and better every game.
yeah, yeah, yeah. As you know, the playoffs hold a different kind of feeling towards rather than the regular season. The Blades ranked the first, PA Raiders ranked eighth. They still do it that way in the WHL and the CHL.
But do you
Um,
think that matters very much? Like, obviously it
I,
matters.
I
It matters a little bit, but I don't
I
know.
like
It's like you get home advantage. Do you really think that the having home ice in the WHL playoffs in the
uh,
beginning, anyways, is as important as somewhere where it's bigger, where you get more people behind you, like the NHL?
oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think the home ice advantage is very important, especially if you look at the attendance now comparison to maybe a year ago. It is drastically improved. The Saskatoon Blades have almost completely sold out the last few games. So it's a big attendance boost, and that will definitely help within the matchup that's going on right now between the PA Raiders and Saskatoon Blades. But it's gonna be a hard battle no matter what. Saskatoon's gonna have to actually prove to themselves that they are where they are for a reason. And they had some big name acquisitions, right? Like they've had uh, Mitten. Uh, they had the Mitten as a trade in from the if I'm correct, it was the Kamloops Blazers. So that's a big acquisition because he played a couple of games in Toronto. He made it out of training camp there, so he had some experience in the NHL, and he's proven to fit well within that lineup.
Yeah.
So do you think the other games around the league, the Eastern, anyways, the Swift Current Broncos and Lethbridge Hurricanes, Moose Jaw Warriors, Brandon Wheat Kings, Medicine Hat, and Red Deer. Um, Moose Jaw Warriors is one of these, as who had a lot of trades before the trade deadline here. Um, they're also looking to make a push in the playoffs, and they played Saskatoon Blades, I do believe, twice at the end of the season here, and both of those are one goal games, and I'm pretty sure they went into the overtime for at least one or two of them.
Yeah.
So, given the Moose Jaw Warriors, they made a lot of trades at the end. Where do you think they stand, uh, having a chance at making it to the finals here?
The Moose Jaw Warriors?
Moose Jaw Warriors, yeah,
Yeah, well, I mean, historically, Saskatoon's always been, like you mentioned, like very, very tight games with them. I see them going through, and hopefully Saskatoon Blades can play Moose Jaw 'cause they always make such a fun game out of it. And as you mentioned, the past couple games at the end of the season were neck and neck. So
yeah. Well, it's a great rivalry, right? It's a rivalry within Saskatchewan, and people love to see that, the own province rivalries, right? So
yeah,
hopefully we'd be able to see another one, given PA and Saskatoon are only a couple hours apart. So, and Moose Jaw and Saskatoon as well. But we'll see as the playoffs unwind here where it takes us. Another story I wanted to get to tonight is the Zach Hyman. Zach Hyman reached 50 goals the other night, right? It's a massive accomplishment. There's only like about 100 people or so that have made it within the history of the NHL that have made it to 100-goal season, or 50-goal seasons.
Yeah.
But the backlash that he had from one reporter, Andrew Berkshire, posted a video the other day stating how it was basically discrediting a bit of what Zach Hyman done. There's a lot of people took it that way, anyways. Mentioning how rich his father was and helped him proceed to where he is now. He went and bought a league out in Ontario, which helped him to continue playing hockey. And what he basically said in his statement was that uh, money or hard work and integrity isn't the only thing that brought him to where he is now. Also, money has definitely played a major role in where he was and where he is now, and also playing along the sides of the greats like Austin Matthews in Toronto, and Connor McDavid now as reasons why he is a 50-goal scorer. I'm curious to what your thoughts are on this, because I think it's probably more to do with the hard work rather than the money. Sure, the money helps, but I think hard work has to play a role in it.
Money and opportunity, I think. So I looked over that, and I might have a different opinion than a lot of people. But if you put it into context, then if you try not to make like a knee-jerk reaction with what he's saying, a lot of people out there and opinions seem to be going around that he's saying it doesn't require hard work. And in my opinion, or like the first listen through I went through and the way I heard it was that he's not saying it doesn't take hard work. He's just saying like he did play by some pretty big names. And I think that that might have helped too. And obviously, in my opinion, money helps as well. Now, there is in Canada a problem with even registering your kid in hockey nowadays is you need money.
Expensive.
I mean, you don't need to buy a league for every single kid in order to get them into into hockey.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you were to have a league, it wouldn't necessarily by default make them show up to work every single day. So, I mean, if you imagine it like if daddy kind of owns a company, right? And then that, guy goes through the company and ends up being close with the owner, very, very up high. It's like, well, he's still a good employee and he's still going through the ranks. But another thing that I think is getting underappreciated is also experience and how valued everybody else should be in him acquiring 50 goals. Obviously, it's a team game, and there is, McDavid beside you. And like you mentioned, he had played alongside the likes of Matthews. And the way I like to think about this is imagine working side by side with one of the best multiple times, in any industry. Like we all know how it works. If you're writing a test and you buy the smart kid of the class, you just cheat off his paper, right?
Well,
you learn along the way.
But I mean, look at
but I think you understand what I'm saying. Like if you get a brand new job doing something, and like a mechanic, and you're working alongside or with on the crew of the best mechanic in the shop, well, you're probably gonna get better than if you work with the worst mechanic in the shop.
Well, yeah.
Not to say you won't get good, but when you're around that amount of experience, you just get better faster, and that allows you to be in a position that he's in. Not saying that it's just based on that. Obviously, hard work, it takes a lot, and I think that what he's trying to say is hard work happened, and he got the 50 goals. Congratulations. But I think the other thing that he's saying is that the media is doing a poor job at covering the real reason as to what's happening. It's like, congratulations, Hyman. 50 goals. It's all based on hard work. See, kids, you just do hard work and it all pays off. But I think that's discrediting to the coaches and the rest of the team, because I think that they also played a role. I mean, let's talk about the people who put him in that role. Like, amazing. It's like the final piece to the puzzle, right?
Yeah,
and to build a team that makes all those pucks go in front of the net, where a player like Hyman would go in and secure them. It's just well-rounded, and I think that point is getting missed.
Yeah, well, I
What do you
mean,
think?
if you look at it like playing alongside Connor McDavid, definitely helps, right? Definitely helps. McDavid is a phenomenal player. But if you look at Connor Brown, he also played with McDavid, and numerous of other guys have also played with McDavid, right? They never hit the 50 goal mark. They hardly
But they also never
registered
got
a
a league
goal.
bought after them.
Yeah, but I mean, still,
I'm just kidding.
besides that point, Hyman was drafted, I think, 139th overall, right, by the
Yeah.
Florida Panthers. So, I mean, he wasn't a high draft pick when he came in, right? Was not a high draft pick at all. He worked his way up. He played every minute he could. He got to where he is by, I think, by working at it. I mean, sure, the money obviously helped him put him through some training that most people wouldn't even be able to afford to even take a chance at, right? But that is not the only thing. If he didn't accept what was given to him and he didn't work off that, he wouldn't be here today. No chance. And to say that,
But he's
uh,
not saying any of that though,
well, he did
in
kind of
my
put it in
opinion.
there, right?
But
He
at the
did
end
kind
of
of say
it,
it.
his main point was that yes, he worked hard, but
He
he
did say
also
that.
got
Yeah.
fortunate that his parents are wealthy because he could be doing something else, you
Well, he
know?
could be, yeah. But
And I think that that's where he's coming from. Is like he's all it's like he's trying to attach onto this systemic part of the NHL or of Hockey Canada. Because there's a very real problem of a lot of players just don't even have the money to play. And I don't know, that's just what it sounds like to me. I think he's giving Hyman the credit where credit's due, but I also think that there's a lot more to what he's saying, especially when it comes to the media. Like all of them say the same thing. It's just to get clicks
yeah,
and to get feel goods. And at the end of
yeah,
it, there's things that I worked my butt off for. Obviously not since the age of, 6 until 31, which I think he is. Um,
yeah.
but all I'm saying is, I guess I gotta keep working for another 20 years, and that'll make me the best at whatever I do, right?
Yeah, I mean, to a point, right? Like
But there's other
there's
things at play, and that's what I think he's saying. You
there
know,
is other things at play, but I mean, why say why say it in a rant like that? Like he was almost
well, do
frustrated.
you want to hear why he'd say that?
Yeah, sure.
I'll tell
Let's
you
hear
why
it.
he'll say
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Let me answer that question with a question.
sure.
Why do you think all the media is giving the feel goods? Zach Hyman, you work hard and you can do anything. Why do you think the media is doing that, right? Because it makes money.
Oh
A
yeah,
lot of people
obviously.
click it.
Yeah,
It's feel good news.
yeah,
So this is the data-driven analyst who did some really, really great things with the Montreal, something to do with the Montreal, and he made their online thing one of the most visited things in hockey.
yeah,
And then he went to pursue other independent stuff. I think it was in 2015. But somebody who's data driven, uh, choosing a story like this and having an opposing thought, well, it's getting clicks.
yeah. Well, yeah, it
I
is.
mean, not
And
for
it's not
financial
not a bad
gain, but
idea to
he's,
have an opposing
you know
thought,
what?
right?
Both of us,
But
both of us have, are talking about it.
yeah,
So
100% it is. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're talking about it. That's for sure. But I mean, like, Zach Hyman worked hard to get to where he is. There's no doubt about it, right? What the way he put it almost seems like he's discrediting all his work getting up to that point. Even though he says, yeah, he put in hard work, but it wasn't because of the hard work. It was because of his dad's money and where he got the opportunities to play. I mean, okay, I mean, there's a lot of kids out there that have rich parents that don't even have a sniff at the NHL because
but that just, if anything, though, let's talk about that for a little bit. Comes from
sure,
rich parents,
yeah,
right? So why is that important? Well, not necessarily the rich part, but
yeah,
I think it just really shows that what's the difference? How come if everybody in the world were to be rich, what would make a professional hockey player driven versus not driven? And I think it's parenting.
it
Like,
could
yeah,
could
rich
be,
rich parents, but for a kid to not like rebel, or stop hockey, or do any of that other stuff. And I don't want to assume because I don't know what his childhood was like.
Yeah.
But you got to admit, it's pretty impressive the fact that he stuck at it for a while. But you also got to think, it's like, well, a lot of what the parents do gets imprinted on the kids,
Yeah.
right? So maybe it comes down to a combination of money and knowing how to drive your kid.
Yeah.
And that's where
And
the
that
hard work
helps.
gets driven into.
And that
So,
helps.
but in that same situation, it's the money that does it because the money is what makes the dad. Yeah, I mean we could, I don't want to get too nitty gritty about it, but the money is what gives the dad the free time to give his kid the proper childhood and to be there for him when he needs to be. If you
Yeah.
start talking about parents where they don't have the money to be able to support them and their hockey team, well, you're not gonna be able to drive in there and drive. It's like driving that nitty gritty emotion into a kid,
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean,
or
his
however
dad,
you do it. I don't know.
well, his dad pushed him to be a hockey player.
Yeah,
Like
see,
he won a
exactly,
hockey,
right?
but he bought a team, obviously, or a league. Sorry, he bought a
Yeah.
league so he could play. But his dad obviously drove him to come play hockey, right? And
Yeah.
I'm sure
So where's the credit there?
he might have wanted to all the time, right?
And I think
Fine. But I
that's one of
mean,
the many things that he's getting at, right? Is that it's more than just one driving factor. There's
it's
more to
not
us than
it's
than
not
just
just
us.
him that got him
It's
there, obviously,
exactly.
but it's a lot of factors to it. But it's not the fact that he's a good player. He's a really good player, and he works hard for his goals. He gets right in the middle of everything, right, to score all of his goals. He also
Hmm.
mentioned in the thing where he said, yeah, he only stands in one area all the time, so he's just hanging out in one area and he just gets fed everything. Well, come
Well,
on.
I
Like, I
mean, he
mean,
does go to the front
he
of the net,
said that. He goes in
you
front of the
know.
net all the time, right? But you know how hard it is to play in front of the net and getting hit all the time? Like, it's not easy to put that in there, right? To be there in that spot. It's not an easy spot to be in. And he mentioned in his rant there that Zach Hyman is a one position player. He was not going to be able to defend. He can't do anything else. He's just the one spot on the offense, and he gets fed in that same spot every single time. But I don't know. I don't think he's seeing all the work that he actually puts in to be in there and score those goals. They don't come easy, man. Like it's just I think he's just I get some of his points, obviously. Like, sure, money
So,
helps get you to a certain spot, right? But you have to be able to take that and do something with it. Because if you don't, like a lot of other people that have the same kind of deal, they get programs and everything to help them go, and they don't even make it close to the NHL because they don't take advantage of it. They don't work to get it. They don't work for it. And if you don't do that and you
but there's a lot
consistently
of other
be
people
on
that
it,
would kill to get that too.
absolutely. But
And
I'm,
that's
but
the point.
obviously, but yeah, like people that also have the same privileges as Zach Hyman don't come close because they don't put in the work, right? Even if you're given
But
stuff,
there's not
you
a lot of people
still
out there
have to
that get a
put in the
league,
work.
but there's not a lot of people out there that get a league bought for them.
Yeah, well, yeah, not that we've heard, anyways, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, so
Like that's what I'm saying is that there's not a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people out there where you give this opportunity and they're going to end up being better off than Hyman, you know?
yeah,
So
yeah.
at the end of it all, if you were to like, I don't know, if you were to take Hyman and throw him on a different team, is he going to score 50 goals? I know
I don't know.
it's a thought experiment is all it
Yeah,
is.
I mean, with
If you were
Toronto,
to
he
throw
didn't.
him,
Toronto, he
if you were to
didn't.
throw him, well, yeah, but that's where he learned a lot from Matthews and
Yeah,
Marner and
yeah,
those
he's
those
still
AAA
learning.
guys. Now
Yeah,
he's in Edmonton and now
yeah.
he's learning from others and he's
Oh,
doing great.
but
But do you think that if you were to go to, I don't know, a lower tier team, that he would still score 50 goals? Like maybe, maybe not. I don't. It's
yeah,
food
I
for
mean,
thought.
it's hard to say, right? He's improving as he's going along, right? Obviously,
Because
and
if not,
McDavid does have obviously some influence on him for sure. McDavid is great. He'll make anybody great around him, right? But I mean, yeah, like I said before, like other people played with him and not shown anything like that, like Zach Hyman does. He just does. He puts in a lot of work to get to where he is, and I think that's maybe a little bit of the
so
point where he was missing.
here's how what we're gonna do. how do we prove this? What can we do? Um, you know, how do we know if Hyman's actually a good goal scorer or if he's just, you know, um, in the position? Do you think he'll do good in the playoffs, Zach Hyman? Maybe we can
Mm,
start there.
I think you will. I think you will, right?
You don't think players will cover him like crazy?
Oh, I think they will,
They'll
but
cover, yeah. You think he'll make it through?
I think so. I think so. I think he has a knack to kind of slide in
So,
between everybody, right?
so that's the starting point. Is
Yeah.
we can look at like, well, is he going to do good in the playoffs? Period, right?
Yeah.
But then the next thing is if McDavid gets injured or is missing or something like that, let's just see how Hyman performs. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I get what he's saying. Like, that's not like a Matthews. Like a Matthews, he can shoot, he can score. You play in front of the net. I mean, you're still shooting and you're still scoring. But if you want to, apply those skills in a different team, it's not like you can shoot and you can score.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you apply, and I don't know, just had that thought. Not saying that he was saying that, just
No, yeah,
thinking
no, for
outside the
sure.
box at like what he's
Yeah.
really gunning at. Because I always find people have these miscommunications, and
Oh,
everybody kind of
absolutely.
has their own way of understanding something.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah. Yeah. People take it a lot of different ways, right? I mean, you could take it both ways at some point, sure. Like he had some points that I probably do agree with, right? But yeah, I mean, everybody takes it differently, and majority of the what I've seen out there are people that disagree with a lot of what he's saying, but obviously there is some truth to what he says as well. Yeah, but
sometimes the truth is hard to hear.
yeah,
And people don't like, I'm not saying it's true. Just
yeah,
saying, or like, I'm not saying what everything he's saying is true. I
yeah,
mean, I guess at the end of the day, what I'm saying is that, yeah, I don't think that it was just hard work. Obviously, like we were talking, it's straight up from parenthood on. It's all these other people that are helping you out. Sure, hard work's a
yeah,
part of it, but it's not everything,
yeah,
in
yeah,
my opinion.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Speaking of
What's
playoffs
your
here,
what's your final opinion then?
the final opinion. Okay, final opinion on this is that I think that there's some truth to what he says about being in programs and stuff. Definitely helped Zach Hyman become the player he is today. But Zach Hyman, I don't think would be there without the work he has put in to make sure he has gotten those 50 goals, right? Alongside Connor McDavid or not, I think it's the work and determination more than anything else of Zach Hyman.
And
That
don't
is my
forget
thoughts.
coaching staff.
Coaching staff
That's a big
definitely
deal.
helps too. Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
overlooked. It's often overlooked.
Absolutely. How about you?
Yeah. Yeah,
Your
well,
final
like
thoughts?
I just said, yeah, it's not just hard work. It's a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not the type of guy to go in to sell a $1 million thing to somebody and then to take all the credit for it. I'm the guy to give credit to everybody involved. And for the media to just say that it was Hyman, their headlines should be Hyman just had a 50-goal season, team chemistry is above and beyond.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
put on the team thing because you don't want to teach people these days do a bunch of hard work and you'll get what you want. What you want to teach people nowadays is you work it well in a team, and that's where you can get what you want. Because the 50 goals, that doesn't matter to Hyman. Hyman wants a Stanley Cup.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
I
let's
want
be
to stand
honest.
up. Yeah.
You
That's
need a
what
good
he's focused
team
on.
to do that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks again for tuning into Hockey Talks. We'll look forward to talking to you next time. Have a good night.